Hi, it is currently midnight Thursday, November 10th, and I just finished watching Marvel Studios' Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. And well, if I had to simplify everything I'm feeling right now into one simple phrase, it would be Wakanda Forever! In my previous video, I talked about how much was riding on this movie, from how it had to follow one of the MCU's best entries in Black Panther 1, how it had to be a love letter in memoriam of Chadwick Boseman, and how Phase 4 has been so lackluster, it started to push away its casual and even some of its most hardcore fans. Like seriously, you know it's rough when people like my mom, who don't even know the difference between DC and Marvel, have decided the movies and shows aren't worth their time. But even more importantly, I said how this movie was my last hope with Marvel movies. How if Black Panther 2 missed the mark the way so many other projects have, I'd be done with this studio. But much like SpongeBob getting way too close to those hooks, they've reeled me back in. Also, if I sound like there's something stuck up my nose, it's because there is. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold thing. I'm fine, but my voice has not caught up to the rest of my body. Black Panther 2 marks the close of Phase Snore. I just coined that myself. And what a bang to end it with. This review will start off spoiler free, then transition into some of the things I really want to talk about in the later half. So if you haven't seen it yet, you're safe, I promise, and I will give you a warning. Wakanda Forever is something that the MCU desperately needed. It's something that I desperately needed. Marvel needed to show the world that they can still create compelling stories and have dynamic characters and create worlds that interest its viewers. And this movie delivers on every single thing I needed it to. Starting with the performances in this movie, everyone here, every single actor in this movie is giving it their all, and you can tell it. When the movie wants you to feel emotions, they are portrayed so strongly, so deliberately, so real that you can't help but feel where these actors are drawing from. You can feel that the actors were so hurt with the loss of a dear friend that there's moments that real life pain shines through. With standouts among the cast being Angela Bassett, who was just great every single time the camera was put on her. With one scene that I want to watch this whole movie back for, I can only imagine the energy that was in the room filming that scene. And Letitia Wright, who really had to deal with the world being on her back, stepping up in this movie. But she kills it. The real-life passing of Chadwick Boseman is woven into the script of this movie. It isn't ignored, it isn't sidelined, it isn't forgotten, and it's made to be real. In the same way the world lost a beloved man, the Wakandans lost a beloved leader. And this movie does what I have been begging the MCU to do this entire phase. Let their characters feel. Every person in this movie is allowed to hurt, allowed to love, and allowed to lose without it being some kind of joke or magically retconned away. It also does something that I never thought we'd see again. Real continuity. Things that mattered in the first movie still mattered here. Challenges that Wakanda faced in the first movie and in the wake of Endgame are still shown and referenced here. Things were not magically fixed off screen in the time that had passed, and I appreciated that so much. Black Panther also gets another award of having another really great villain. I don't know who's choosing the villains for these movies, but they need to be in every single writing room, because Namor, who is someone I'd never heard of and never thought I'd care about, is a great addition to this movie. Once again, I found myself at odds with the villain, but not without a lack of understanding for why they are the way that they are. I also understand why all these other Marvel projects have looked like high-budget YouTube videos. All the money was saved for this movie because it looks so good. So good, in fact, they didn't even try to do the hide the bad CGI and dark lighting and quick cuts trick. Not everything in this movie is necessary though. The runtime could have been cut just a little, and there's some moments that I wish were done just a tad bit differently. But final thoughts before spoiler time. This movie is a great, touching, and glorious return to form. That's funny when it chooses to be and gut-wrenching all at the same time. With very few glaring flaws, I sincerely hope that this is a resurgence for Marvel, because now they've proven they still have it in them. Definitely an 8.5 or even a 9 out of 10 stinks for me. So go watch this movie. I really think you'll enjoy it. And now it's spoiler time. Okay, you're still here? Good. Let's get deeper into some specifics that I just have to talk about. This movie handled T'Challa so well. The whole time I feared that somehow, some way, they would do some weird Star Wars stuff and try to like AI his voice or CGI him back into this movie. But they don't try no mess like that. And I'm so thankful for it. They even found a way to appease the recast T'Challa people with the end credits scene that honestly I think was a genius way to open that thread back up without having to commit to anything super strongly for the time being. Plus, that was easily one of the best end credit scenes that Marvel has ever had and done in a really long time. Also, that silent Marvel logo always hits. Whenever they do that, it's just like, man, what a feeling. Shuri running into Killmonger in the ancestral plane was just too good. I can't even say any more about that. That was just some great character and world building with an awesome callback to the first movie. I also loved how Namor doesn't die in this movie. So many Marvel villains are straight up defeated by the end of the movies, but giving him a chance to return in the future projects as a villain or antihero if need be is nice, because he was a really cool character. It was also really cool how M'Baku of all people was the one to realize that killing Namor would just put the Talokans in the same position that the Wakandans were in, losing a leader. I could really talk about this movie for hours, and maybe one day we'll start up a Stankcast to do just that, but right now, I'm just happy that this movie exists in the way that it exists. Everyone a part of this movie really deserves a round of applause, and I hope it gets the love that it deserves. But have you seen this movie? And if so, what did you think? Are you hype about Marvel, or was this the final nail in the coffin for you? Let me know in the comments below. I promise I'll read and reply to them. And as always, if you like this video, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. We're almost at 100. I will catch y'all in the next one. Deuces.